Greetings, everyone. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Mortgage Innovators podcast, where we deliver fresh and hopefully entertaining and fun insights on all things mortgage and the innovation propelling our industry forward. My name is Margaret Chiavini, and I am with New Res Correspondent Lending. And every Tuesday, you can find our rotating group of co-hosts who all share their own unique connection to our industry. This week, we continue with our theme this month in August of Real ROI. It's a series that we're doing to really talk about in depth return on investment. And each episode is focused on technology and the return on that investment. So before we get started, I would like to give a very warm welcome to our guests today. And we have Dawar and Dustin here on the podcast from Lender Price. So gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret, for having us.
You bet. And Dawar, a very special welcome back to you, because you were on our podcast a little bit earlier this year, and it was a great one, really talking about how your pricing engine can be a comprehensive solution for the needs of the customer. So
thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Okay, so probably never a more important time to talk about this topic, ROI, than right now in our industry. Volumes are down, margins are compressed. There's a lot of pressure to be efficient. So when we talk about ROI, I'd like to really kind of kick this conversation off with both of you gentlemen in really talking about fundamentally from your point of view, what does ROI mean? We all know it means technically return on investment, but philosophically, it can mean a lot of different things. It can be an economic application. It can be a efficiency in terms of productivity with people. It can be how your identity is built in the marketplace for goals that you have in the future. So really representing a fabulous pricing engine, and your perspective on that. What would you say ROI is?
So I think one of the things that, so it really depends on the perspective that you're looking at, the lens. I think productivity, whether you're looking at it from a loan originator, a broker, wholesale lender, correspondent lender, retail lender, secondary market, capital markets, pricing engine allows you to be a lot more productive and efficient. From a broker or loan originator's perspective, it's, having the ability to view more products and programs. From a broker, you're looking at, how many wholesale lenders, like with our marketplace M2.0 product, it's how many wholesale lenders do I have to select from? What are other wholesale lenders that I'm not doing business with? How can I find more programs with better rates and better pricing? For wholesale lenders in our Marketplace 2.0 product is how can I attract more brokers to do business with me? And from capital markets perspective, it's really how can I be more efficient? How can I save more time? Are there ways to add workflow management, granular mortgage management, various ways to make yourself more efficient?
Yeah. I think just to expand a little bit on what Dawar said, it obviously depends on who you're talking to in their area of business. I think there's always a bottom line element to ROI, and as you mentioned, margins are compressing. So having a solution that gives you the ability to efficiently manage your margins and your pricing is super important to the lenders that we're talking to out there. But I think there's also the element of missed opportunities and making the most of the opportunities. And with a robust pricing solution specifically, you can make sure that you're very quickly and accurately finding the appropriate programs for the borrowers, so you don't miss out on an opportunity just because you couldn't find the right program for them. You're able to find the accurate pricing so that you can go out there, and it's a very competitive market, very quickly get answers to your borrowers. And because of the market that we're in, you've got to be able to update your business very quickly. So if you need to add a new program to be competitive in the market, if you need to update your pricing, your margins, your adjustments to be competitive in the market, you have to have a solution that brings the efficiency and the value to create that ROI overall for your company.
Yeah, I love that. I really appreciate how both of you are talking about it in terms of very practical terms. You know, right now, every deal matters. And, you know,
Absolutely.
Dawar, when you were talking about that, you've got to be able to give options. Dustin, I loved when you said you have to be able to add something quickly. You know, we're now moving into a market that's more HELOC oriented. Well, you have to be able to, you know, incorporate that into into your pricing engine, all for the sake of not losing the deal and or being basically having a competitive advantage so that the partners see you as the solution.
Exactly, and I think if I could just add to that, it's having a pricing engine. It's really pricing engines today is you want a solution that's flexible that you could augment and add these additional programs and products. Like, you know, you mentioned HELOCs, $1 trillion in home equity in people's homes right now that's untapped. You know, we're seeing a lot of wholesale lenders that are offering HELOC programs to brokers. Spring EQ is a good example of that. And to be able to provide that through a tool such as a pricing engine and offer ways so that loan originators can structure deals better is a huge win for the industry right now.
I love that you brought up home equity HELOCs, because having a single pricing engine solution where you don't have to jump around and you can find, is it a home equity or a HELOC? Is it a non-QM program? Do we need to be adding arms to our portfolio of options? And can I find them all in a single place very quickly so it's appropriate for my borrower? So it kind of ties into what you guys talked about last time, but being able to add those programs, find the appropriate ones, and have them in a single solution where you don't have to jump around creates efficiencies, which in turn creates an ROI for the organization.
Yeah, that is great. Do you, as part of what you offer, do you kind of have I'm using the word checklist, it might not be the right one, but in other words, these are the things, if I'm in the audience, that I want to actually look at. You know, you said, how easy is it to add a product? You know, how can you augment or how can you modify the system very, very quickly as the market changes? Do you offer sort of any of that help? What I'm thinking about is the criteria to use to make an assessment. Is my pricing engine giving me the ROI that I need?
Yeah, I think, so we came out with our Flex Pricer for that exact reason. It's got a customizable, or it's actually configurable UI, drag and drop UI, because what we've noticed is that a lot of the legacy systems out there just pretty much gave you a UI that was not easy to make modifications to. So for example, with non-QM, you had various products, DSCR, very alternative documentation, and then you have dynamic results. So if you select an investment property, then DSCR comes up, and then at what ratio do you want it? And every single different non-QM lenders have their variations, their flavors of how they want that to look and function. So what we said is, okay, well, we have to have a pricing engine that can adapt to how they want that experience to be. And then how do they want the results to show? Now, with legacy systems, back then when you're developing a solution like this, you didn't have the option of creating something that's kind of drag and drop, kind of like a wiki. You've seen these, at the very beginning, you had, okay, if you want to build a website, you'd have to hire a web developer to go out there and create it, and then you had, what's that, company, kind of like a Wix, where you don't have to have any development skills to create it. You could just drag and drop and create your UI. And then on the back end, we said, okay, rules management is really difficult. If you mess up with a greater and less than sign, or if you're using any control flow statements, you could make a mistake. Why don't you use natural language processing? Why can't you just copy and paste an eligibility rule and have the system create the rule for yourself. The rules create the rules for you.
You know, kind of being from the sales aspect of it with lender price, I think it's very dependent on who you're talking to, both from, you know, what is your business, what is your organization channel, how do you operate? Let's dig into that and see how we can bring our expertise to the table to find those efficiencies, as well as the individual role. So if we're trying to help out an individual loan officer, that's one discussion, and we can look at the existing operation that you have in place. How are you working? If we're talking to the operations people, let's look at, are you using a bunch of disparate systems that we can all tie together with our robust API? If we're talking to the secondary marketing folks, it's a whole nother level of discovery, and it's a mutual discovery process to understand your business, what you're doing today, and where a solution provider like Lender Price can bring value based on all the experience that we have with our own solution and in the market.
And it kind of goes back to what you said, Dawar. It's your perspective. And,
Exactly.
you know, Dustin, that's exactly right. The needs of a loan officer are going to be different than the needs of a CEO and the needs of, you know, an ops person. And so I think understanding that, that's what I really love about this conversation of ROI, is that in order to make a good grounded assessment about ROI, you really have to understand, what do you care about? You know, what are the goals?
And then being able to wrap all of those conversations, all of that information, and bring it into the organizational level. So we're helping the loan officer and the secondary marketing person and the CEO with the bottom line. And
Yeah.
that's, you know, the ultimate goal is bringing those point solutions and efficiencies and ROI to each segment so that the entire organization sees the value.
Yeah, for a lot of lenders, it's when you're looking at ROI, especially in today's market, it's how fast can I get a product out there before my competitor does? Because the faster I can get it out there, then I could possibly be the first look, if you will, of loan originators saying, I'm going to send my business to this lender, if it's a broker. Traditionally, you know, a lot of modern solutions now are doing a much better job in making it easier for you to introduce products as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And I really like how practical you both are in terms of, as you describe ROI, what does it look like? Like that. I mean, that's a fantastic criteria. How fast can you get a product on the pricing engine and out in the marketplace? I actually think you guys should do a white paper on, you know, how do you make an assessment if you're achieving the highest ROI for your pricing engine? I think that would be wonderful. And then, of course, you should publish it on the mortgageinnovators.com site.
Done. Done.
I like the idea. Like the idea.
So great. Oh, well, gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our podcast today. And again, such a rich, amazing topic. And thank you for being so practical in, you know, what's the criteria that our listeners really should be using. Any sort of final thoughts on ROI and, you know, what you think would be valuable for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we could have a shameless plug here,
Of course.
we've got this Marketplace 2.0 product that's been just, it's gotten such great reviews out there. In today's market, like, cost is everything, right? You're seeing a lot of these lenders that are downsizing or right sizing or whatever you want to call it. You're seeing lenders looking at expenses. You're seeing brokers also looking at their expenses and seeing what they could trim. We have a product called Marketplace 2.0 that's absolutely free. And if you compare that to another solution out there, you know, an average broker would pay $79 per user, $20 per each LOS access, $200 per month. So these are all per user, but per month. $200 per month for access for a rate quoting feature. We're offering this for free to help the to help the broker and wholesale community. So, you know, we would like to see, more originators take advantage of it, and and utilize this tool at a time when they need it the most. Because having access to more lenders and more products and more solutions, and being able to find HELOCs and non-QM and QM loans all in one place is super valuable today. And if you want to deliver more options and products, and if you want to go to your realtors and say, hey, this is what you need to look at, or I'm going to go ahead and qualify your borrower, and this is the tool that I'm using, we have a solution for you, and it's free. So why pay for it when you can get it for free?
Absolutely. And if our audience wants more information, where can they go to get that?
Lenderprice.com/marketplace.
All right.
Now is the time. ROI, with the market the way it is, this is the time to evaluate your current partners, your technology, find the solution that's going to bring you success, efficiencies, and ROI going forward, because we're in a cyclical market and this is going to come around. Right now is the time to do that evaluation, to find the right partners and the right technology.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. And we loved having you. And Dawar, we'll look forward to the third time when you're going to be on the podcast.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And a very special thank you to our listeners today. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, please make sure to subscribe to the Mortgage Innovators YouTube channel or wherever you podcast. Until next time.